Good morning, YouTube friends. We're here at my one little section of my orchid farm here in Philippines, Mindanao Island. We're actually looking at a ginger flower. This is a ginger plant. Actually, I don't know if it's ginger, part of the ginger family. Okay, quite a big flowering plant here that's about 4 feet tall. And these are some of my orchids here, and part of my growing area, my dendrobiums and cattleyas. This morning I got up and wanted to talk about my Phalaenopsis collection. This is one of the latest editions of my phals. It's a little wild one I found growing on this tree here. It's quite small, as you can see. I have no idea how old it is. I started seeing it when it was about this size. So it's grown up a little bit. This little new root here is brand new, starting out. So it's pretty darn interesting to see that growing on the side of this tree. My latest purchases, Phalaenopsis. I've only got 4. I've got these 2 here. I've got this one, which I got pretty cheap. This was like $5. And in pretty rough shape, like this. It finished its bloom, and I decided, you know, it's such a bargain, I'll pick it up. But it's got some nice new roots coming out down below here. Some new leaves coming out. So I'm happy about that. It's looking good. This is just a piece of bamboo that I got growing here. And this is the same one here. This one was about $10 that I got at a local nursery. I go in there and check out what they've got for their rejects that I can purchase for cheap. It's actually not a nursery, it's a reseller. They get their plants from Manila. And it was in bloom when I got it. The blooms were just kind of at the last phase, which is why they were selling it at a discount. So the blooms are gone. I've snipped off the blooming stalk here. And then I put keiki paste on every other joint down the stalk. So if you've ever wondered about using keiki paste, here is a nice little recommendation for doing that. My goodness, these are just growing really well, these shoots coming off of here. I'm not sure if we'll get keikis or blooms because it's the first time I've used it trying this, but they're doing really, really well. Really happy about those. So the first phal that I ever got, first Phalaenopsis, is this one here. And this one came from my wife's uncle, a neighbor of ours. We just happened to be going by his house one day and he gifted this to us. This is my first one, so I've had this probably close to 5 years. 4 or 5 years. And it's bloomed several times. There's actually 2 plants in here. You can see there's 2 stalks. One here. This one has no blooms on it, but this one has bloomed. Had quite a few blooms in this section here, and then it just came out in the last week or so with some more here started off. So these are nice little blooms. A little bit plain color, but they're doing really nice. And these 2 plants here I got interested in propagating, so I cross-pollinated these. They're actually not cross-pollinated, they're just pollinated from one to the other, from this plant to this one. So these were also seed pods. So these blooms were pollinated over to these ones, and these ones were pollinated over to these ones. And these are about 120 days old now, so they're about ready for me to flask or to germinate, to put into their germination flasks. So I'm going to be doing that soon here in the next week or so. I'm getting my materials ready for that. I've got a little tiny homemade box laboratory for doing that. This is an interesting plant because Like I said, I've had it. This is one of the first orchids that I got 4 or 5 years ago. It was in a coconut husk. As you can see, it's almost completely deteriorated and gone. These are just a few remnants of the husk. Whoops, she came unhooked. Let's see. There we go. Okay, now it's hooked again. So it wasn't a husk like this. Large coconut husk. It was kind of tied together. One big piece. And now it's rotted down to what you see here now. So it should be replanted if I was really taking nice care of it. But it's doing well. I mean, we've got some nice new root tips on here. You can see right here. New leaves coming out. So I take care of it. I water it and fertilize it well. But yeah, it doesn't have much of a potting medium to grow in. It just doesn't look nice. But it's growing well. And it's blooming well. And producing seeds and all like that. So, you know, I'll get to repotting it one of these days when it stops blooming and stuff like that. And I showed you the rest of my orchids that are down here. In case you're wondering what's at the bottom there, those are all coffee plants in pots. Robusta coffee. And then I've got some dendrobiums here, and like I said, cattleyas are farther down. And then my vandas are farther over in a different section. So this will be a separate video from when I'm working on opening these seed pods. We'll get to that. Okay? Thanks for watching. I hope you'll like the video and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Bye.